Welcome everyone, Joe with ECRM and Range Me, and I have with me Michael Lebhar, who is a co-founder at 2x4 Nutrition. And today we're going to talk about the value of adaptability and how it can help when you're engaging your retail clients or potential retail clients. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining us. And to get started, give us an overview of the brand, its products, your origin story too.
Awesome. Yeah. So thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and share some of our experiences. But yeah, so 2x4 Nutrition was founded by myself and a couple other co-founders. Where this all started was me and my partner partnered up to create. We wanted to create. We saw how much success brands were having on Amazon, how much we've had on Amazon, and how people were just selling, products with just a label on it. And we're like, there's a great opportunity to like really take to the next level and build really strong brands with really strong products and really invest in the product and the brand. So we partnered up, we were exploring a lot. And one of my partner's previous brand was actually in the supplement space, and he knew the space really well. I didn't know supplements at all. And we met this manufacturer from another venture we were working on, and we were speaking to them, and we realized how they had a really unique technology. And kind of what we knew about the supplement space, a lot of them don't work, a lot of them is just bogus. So we were really excited when we kind of found out about this technology that they've had, and their name is the Blairs. We found out about their technology that they had and realized how we could build a brand with in the supplement space with really good products that actually work. And yeah, that's kind of when we partnered together to build this brand. So yeah, it's called 2x4 Nutrition, 2x4.com. And kind of the foundation of it was a lot based on nutrition and supplements for the whole family.
Mhm.
And that's why it's called 2x4. It has like 2x4, it's like the multiplication effect of 2x4 because of our supplements are fast absorbing, so they use liposomal technology.
Mhm.
And we have like a lot of clinical studies we did to prove how it could absorb up to 15 times faster than other vitamins. Most vitamins people take, you don't feel anything, and then it's so hard to resell them. With this, just because of how quickly people feel it, even if they don't understand the technology, we realized how there was so much there. So we and then another reason why it's called 2x4 is like how homes are built on 2x4s. So so we started the brand, and we came out to like really spend the time developing a really strong brand, but also really strong products that address real customer needs and are unique in a lot of different ways. So yeah, that's kind of how we started the brand, and it's been a fun journey.
Excellent. And yeah, I was reading up on that technology. That's pretty interesting because it is important, and read a lot about that and hear a lot about that on wellness podcasts. Is that the importance of bioavailability and how is your body able to take in the vitamins or the key parts of the supplement and how much of it gets wasted, that's not digested or whatever. So I think that's really important. And take us through your line of products because you mentioned it's for the whole family. So
Yep. So we have like a pretty wide range of products. Initially, we started with, the more basic products like a absorbing vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, glutathione. So a lot of like the core staples. And then we kind of expanded more to a lot of like multivitamins. So a men's multi, a kid's multi, a woman's multi, and then, a prenatal, a postnatal, more specific need state. So we did pre-workout, post-workout, and we kind of started honing in on a lot of those more specific need states. And then yeah, we've developed that a little bit more to like a gut health product, and then hair, skin, and nails product, things, a lot of getting into like more very specific need states. Our products started off as because we're in a liquid format. So for our technology to work best, it's best when it's in the liquid format. So liquid format's cool. It's got some of its challenges because, we're all natural. So, you got to work a lot on the flavor. But what's cool about it is like easy for kids to take, older people with pill fatigue, but also like you could take a few of the vitamins, mix it, put it in your water. You could take it direct. It doesn't have to be sublingual. You could just mix it in your water, mix it in your drink, just take it directly. So that's pretty cool. And then we kind of, one of the big evolutions we did, which we'll kind of talk about as we started building out the brand, is focusing on making them a lot more in pump and slash like spray format, so it's even more convenient. It still has, in the liquid format, but it's still in a easier format to take and travel with and things like that. So that's kind of the range of the products we have. As we've developed our line, like our most popular line right now is our it's called the Better line, and it's better sleep, better energy, better neuro, and better calm. So it's like cognitive sleep products. They're all in sprays, 1 ounce sprays that pumps that are easy to take around, easy to take, and things that you kind of feel right away and around those like, need states that everybody has.
Yeah, and they're big now. I mean, I recently did an interview with Brightfield Group, which does social listening around wellness topics. And the one that we just did was called winding down and amping up, and how important those two, or how big those two need states are, right? You have so many people are stressed out. They need to kind of wind down, relax so that they can get a good night's sleep and all that. But at the same time, they also want energy and focus for when they are awake, and to be more productive, to get more out of their time. So those two are really, really powerful need states based on, their research on what people are talking about on social media. So you're covering all those bases there. So now, obviously, like you mentioned before, you're on Amazon. Where else are you distributed?
Yeah, so we really started a lot on our site, and then we kind of shifted. One of kind of the journey we went through is we joined ECRM Cough and Cold.
Mhm.
So we were on Range Me Premium. We had our listings there. We've had some conversations from there. Then from there, we joined ECRM Cough and Cold. From there, we got a lot of really good conversations and actually closed on CVS. That was our first major retailer, CVS Health Hub, I think in like around 1,000 stores. We got 4 items, I think, distributed with CVS. And then from there, we got QVC through there. And then from there, we were a lot focused on .com on our website. The opportunity came up to we got an email from Range Me, invite you to open call. So we were like, let's apply to this. We didn't know kind of how far it would go. We applied to open call, and then from there, when we got on our acceptance letter, we really kind of that's when we really dove into it. So we understood once we got like our acceptance letter, like there's a real opportunity here. And that's when we really dove into it. We kind of understood how, at Walmart right now, the technology of the products we have, they're just not available because of the pricing of any liposomal products.
Mhm.
Most people are using contract manufacturers. So they have to raise their price a little bit where the manufacturer directly, because our CEO, Dr. Mallory Blair, owns a manufacturing plant. So that was kind of a really big thing. So we're like, okay, we could really be innovative and create products at a price point that would actually work at Walmart when nobody else really has done it. And obviously it's a really competitive space,
Mhm.
especially with Walmart. That shelf does so much revenue, but there's so much opportunity there. So that's kind of when we really dove in, and we noticed that the product that Walmart accepted for us to pitch was like a higher price point product, not a great form factor. We're like, if we go in with the meeting with this, like we're probably not going to get in. Like, and even if they get it, they take the meeting, it'll be nice. Like, even if we get in, it's going to be really strong, small distribution. So that's when we really got to the drawing board. And, that's kind of how we approached every channel, where it's like there's certain products that work better for different consumers, and there's certain ways to
Mhm.
tell that stories and certain price offerings. So how do we match that? So when we did CVS, it was our cold and flu products. So like our zinc, which we called our zinc, we had a zinc which was called cold reducer. We had a total immunity product, which was a blend. We had a few different of those products, and they were packed a little more expensive. We made very wide boxes so they could take up a lot of shelf space. That's kind of how we approached CVS. Like when we were doing direct to consumer, we were focused a lot on bundles. When we came into focusing Walmart, we're like, we know we need aggressive price points, so people are buying us not like because we're better technology. Like they don't have the time to learn about that. Like they're buying us because we're good value. And they can learn more about the brand once they purchase from us. But like that's number one. Number two is how do we not take up a lot of shelf space? Like that shelf space at Walmart is extremely valuable. They're not just giving it out. So like if we
Mhm.
take up less shelf space, maybe they could give us more items. So like how do we do that? What's a better form factor that's really convenient for the Walmart customer? And then what's the need states they're looking at? Like they're probably not just going in looking for the coal, even though a lot of customers are, but the aisle we were pitching in specifically is for a lot of these need states. So like what are need states that are popular and people are really looking to solve? And that's kind of when we really went came to the drawing board and came up with these 4 items. And we pitch way more items, but part of this better line where it's like easier to understand, under $10, convenient form factor, all natural, but good flavor. And that's kind of what we focused on. And that's what we came to Walmart with.
That's excellent. I really like the way you kind of adapted your offerings based on the retailers you were going after and their markets, who their customers are. So you actually changed the form factor to so that you can address the price point and then the packaging to address the space. Is this tell me a little bit about that. How did your meetings go with Walmart and what impact did it have, the changes that you made to the products and the packaging when you went to pitch them?
Great question. Yeah. So our co-founder Cal Chen, who's had actually previous successes with RangeMe and ECRM, kind of realized how like, we really have to, they're giving us the time, but like we have to really tell a really good story here. So we really just all we focused on for a couple months is just building the best story of like every single area. And I think when you're going into the meeting, it's like what's their check boxes basically. I got to think about like in the buyer's perspective, like what's the check boxes. It's much easier for them to say no to say yes. To say yes, they're taking a big risk on you, right? Especially with such highly coveted shelf space in the supplement aisle. So it's like we really thought through those check marks and make sure our deck and our story we're telling them addresses each of those. And obviously you can't know everything, but you know a lot from there. And what we did is we kind of said, like, number one, what's the space? Could tell them a little more about the space as it relates to the type of products we're bringing, how our products fit the customer needs. We actually did customer surveys. So we went into Walmart's, into Sam's Clubs, talked to customers, why they're looking for certain products, why they purchase certain products. We added in that data so it could actually be helpful and we could show the buyer that. And then from there, we actually showed, what assortment we think would fit well, where it would fit, and how it would fit. And to do that, we actually made prototypes of the products we're planning on pitching them. We created like a mock shelf, like of how it would look like on the shelf. And we pitched a wide range of products. I think we formulated 17 different items part of the Better line because our approach was, yes, Better Sleep's a great idea, but they might be in deep conversations with another vendor for a sleep and they don't have room in sleep. So they would have taken you, but because you didn't put in front of them that you have a gut health product, they're not taking you. So we wanted to make sure we kind of cover that. Conversation went really, really well. And the buyer even said, like, this is a great example how open call could bring like real opportunities. From there, they invited us to line review. And I think what people have to understand is like, sometimes like they're like, oh, we didn't get a golden ticket. Like Walmart has a golden ticket, but like Walmart's making a lot of their really big decisions on line review of, where they're fitting you. And yes, they could fit you in a small amount, but like a lot of their big decisions are coming in line review. So we prepared even further. They gave us some feedback. The price wasn't exactly where they needed it. They had some feedbacks on the packaging and all that. We made sure we addressed all that. We came into the meeting. They already knew our story. We refreshed them on a couple details, showed them we directly addressed all the feedback they gave. And from there, within a few months, we were in 1,100 stores with 4 items. So that was exciting.
That's great. And you know what? Given what you just said, I'm not surprised because you clicked so many boxes of like best practices, what we recommend, one, right, you're presenting in terms of the buyer's needs, right, of the retailer's needs. You've the research and the prep that you did going into that meeting. I mean, actually going into the stores themselves and surveying their customers, that's rare, but that was an awesome move. I'm sure they loved hearing that, and then making the adjustments that you needed to. And then after you did meet with them before that second meeting, actually, taking their feedback and then showing them, hey, look, this is what you suggested. This is what we did based on that. I mean, it's just a win-win all around. I mean, from the prep to the execution, that was a great job. So, and it seems like that's the way you operate, because my next question was going to be, how has this experience shaped the way that you're going to approach other retailers? Let's say you meet someone on RangeMe or at an ECRM session down the road. How has this influenced the way you're going to pitch them?
the way I think about retail now is just from some of the experiences we've had is that really have to understand which retailer is right for you. And then once you understand which retailer is right for you, then craft your products and your offering to really to fit them really well.
Mhm.
And if number one, the retail's not right for you, like don't try to squish yourself in there because you're going to put a lot of effort. They're probably not going to take you. If they do take you, it's a good chance you're not going to do well. And then you're just costing a lot of resources, time, and money and waste. So I think it's really important to understand the retailer. And now, if a retailer is a good fit for you, sometimes your products will be a perfect fit, but more oftentimes they're not. There has to be a change in the packaging, and all those little iterations could be the difference between that going of like, are you successful enough for them to keep you on shelf or are you not? And we're still learning. There's a lot of, challenges when it comes to retail, especially in space we play in. We're competing with the largest of the largest, right? And a bunch of different brands all owned by the same companies, and it's like a few new brands in there, and it's like it's hard to compete. So I think it's like you want to put your efforts behind the retailers that, you feel like you're a good enough fit and they're going to add real value to your brand, and the growth that you're trying to do. So I think it's really important to be intentional about that. And that's kind of as we approach other retailers, that's what we're trying to do is like really understand like which retailers do feel like fit well with what where we're trying to head. And then based on that, give them everything,
Mhm.
and give them everything that's like the right products, the right price points, the right packaging, the right story, and put the right effort to get into those.
That's great. And like you mentioned, you can't be everything to everybody. And if you try to be everything to everybody, you're going to be nothing to
Yep.
everyone. And sometimes it's okay to just say, okay, no, we're not going after these guys. They're not a fit. We don't fit them. But then when you do approach them, you give them a lot of options too, so that you can, they may spot something that fills a gap that maybe you didn't expect. So like when you talk to Walmart and you show them all of the options that you had, like you mentioned, they might have a need for a couple of them and not for others, depending on who else they're talking to. And then that's where I think Range Me comes in too, because you could always refer them back to your profile to see the full lineup of everything. So can you
Yep,
talk about how do
exactly.
you work one against one off of the other?
Yes.
Range Me and ECRM?
Yeah, I think with Range Me, it's like it's about building a really good profile, having your items there, having like the wide range of items there, because again, like some retailers might be interested in certain things, others in certain things. And I think it's really like a conversation starter, trust builder. And I think what we'll some ways we'll use it is we'll see these buyers are looking at our profiles, looking at our brand. Now's a good time to follow up and reach out to them. It's like it's not going to be magic like, oh, they see you on Range Man, now they're just going to purchase from you. So it's a lot about like thinking through like getting, and then it's like if you're able to start some conversations there, and then it's like obviously it makes it much easier. I think one powerful thing about Range Me is all the pay attention to all the different programs, because like randomly it's always hard to find the buyer looking at the right time for the right item and to strike gold there. But a lot of times like you could see like Whole Foods is looking for these type of items, or Walmart is looking for there's so many of those opportunities, and if you find those and stick into those and apply to some of those more targeted programs that Range Me has, I feel like those are very powerful. And then yeah, the other way is just authenticity. What you'll see is when you're speaking with buyers, then you'll see sometimes like they're checking your range me. So just make sure everything looks good. You could get some details in email, but a lot of times it's easier for them to just click through your listings on range me, see what they think. So yeah, that's kind of some of the ways how we leverage range me.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And what you're referring to are the reviews, right? When
Yep,
some of
exactly.
the
The reviews.
buyers they'll say we're reviewing this category, whatever. And so yeah, and again, that's you can't have a better lead in than that, right? If they tell you,
Yep.
listen, we are
We're
reviewing
looking
the
for it.
category, yeah. So it's like now is that's the right time. And for those of you listening, watching, this is something for starter or premium members that they get access to retail review alerts. I think it goes out once every week where it's updated with whoever's reviewing. Plus, you also have the capability of submitting directly. Do you also do that? Submit your products directly
Yep.
to some retailers?
Yep, I think submitting directly to like the right retailers, once we know the right retailers who we're targeting, that's like a great example of like now we'll go and I think once you know who you're targeting, like try to go from a bunch of different angles,
Mhm.
rather than like, oh, let me target everybody and see what sticks,
Yeah.
I think that approach is good. And then for that, it makes sense to like submit your products, submit your items, things like that.
Gotcha. What about independent retailers? There's a lot of independents on Range Me, and some of them might reach out to you directly through there. Do you get a lot of engagement with independents as well?
We get some. We don't do a lot of business with independent just because
Hmm.
of like the management of it, and we're a little more focused on like the few main channels that we have. But
Yep.
I've seen messages and things come in from that, so there's definitely opportunity there.
Gotcha. But you're focused on the
Yep,
chains right
yep,
now.
we're focused on the chains. Yep,
Okay, well, like you said, you got to pick. You want to pick your
yep.
lane, and you want to focus on that, and that's the important thing to do. So, what do if someone is new to Range Me and they are or ECRM and they're watching this, what would be? Let's start with Range Me first. What would be your recommendations to them as far as managing the profile and making it attractive for buyers?
So I think a few things. Number one, on the header, just try to be very clear and concise about why you're different than everything else they're looking at. Number two is try to have all your kind of key main items. So you don't have to clutter it with a bunch of random items that you have, but try to have at least also like one main item from each of your main collections because buyers all the times won't know. They're looking at your profile, they won't know that you have these other items that they're looking at. And also, like you mentioned before, when these certain reviews come up, it just makes it much easier if your items are already in the system so that you could easily submit. So that's kind of number two, I would say. When you're outlining, especially if you're in very competitive spaces, like when you're writing your profiles and your listings and your items, like make sure you really focus about why you're different. You could add in a lot of details about the features of the items, but most of these buyers already know about these items. You're not talking to like a consumer, you're talking to a buyer. They know what vitamin C does. It's more about like why you're vitamin C, right? So I think that's really important. And then yeah, just really click around, like look at those reviews that they have available, look at different things, keep track of those, and submit to, be as active as you can in those, and then pay attention to who's looking at your profile, and then so you could be really engaged with like who's following, who's checking in, and try to connect with different people that are checking your profile on LinkedIn, so you're just in their head multiple times.
Yeah, and I think that's important. It's you want that, a lot of time that one touch is not going to do it. It's got to be
Yep.
several touches in a lot of different ways. And RangeMe is great for building and starting and building those relationships that you can continue offline at a place like ECRM. So, what are your recommendations for ECRM buyer meetings?
Yep. So ECRM buyer meetings, I think number one, again, there's a bunch of different events. Like there's some overlap between some events. You have certain items that fall into certain events. I think just pay attention to like what retailers again are going to be at the events that you're looking at. A lot of them have like awesome retailers, but some events might have more that apply to what you think you'll be more successful in. So choose kind of wisely in those in that regard. And I think again, when it comes to ECRM, it's such a unique opportunity where you have like undisturbed time to really meet a buyer. Really you want to get them interested enough where it's like we should be looking. You don't have to get everything out. It's more about like this is somebody that needs to be on the top of our mind, and this is somebody who we need to speak to because they're going to have a bunch of meetings, and then after there's going to be those few that they really stick out to follow up with and respond to, and then from there you could really have those longer conversations and build that out. So that's why I would suggest like really focusing in on which ECRM meetings, and then from there actually making sure that you're focused, that the buyer like likes you, likes what you have, is interested enough in it, so that way you can have those follow up, and in those other conversations you can make sure to tell them everything, but like you don't have to cram in everything, at least in my opinion.
Gotcha. No, no, that's great advice. Great advice. And like you said, you could focus on the key ones, and then you could always refer them to your arrangement page and say, listen,
Yep.
we have a lot more. And I don't want to waste your time with it. You could follow up on the other ones by checking out our arrangement profile. So, working one against the other. So, yeah. So, last question: what's next for two by four that you could tell me without killing me?
What's next for 2x4? So we're gonna be all very focused on Walmart. Like we realize there's so much opportunity within there. So we're really focused on Walmart, whether that's pitching new items, trying to mainly just increase sales on the items that we have in there, and really focusing on that. So we're going to be really focused on that, and then are going to be looking at like very strategic expansion of other key retailers that like we feel like are really aligned with what we're trying to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's kind of what's kind of next for us. It's a fun, challenging place. Selling supplements in a world where there's a lot of supplements, but yeah, it's exciting.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you at one of our sessions in the future, and I wish you the best of luck at Walmart since you just got in. It's new, and I know you guys are going to crush it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Awesome.